I'll say it again. You know, there's one really obvious sign that global warming isn't now a science at all. It's a religion. And the sign is this. Anyone can now say any nonsense, any obvious untruth about global warming being a menace, the worst thing ever, run for the hills. And guess what? It doesn't matter. The facts don't matter. Say whatever you like. In fact, almost no journalist even thinks of correcting untruths. In fact, it's the opposite. They'd rather persecute the very few who dare. And I want to give you two fresh examples. One very important involving our doctors' union, the AMA, who you'd think would be above this kind of stuff, but I'm afraid it's been hijacked, it seems, by the left. But let me start with the other one first. One of the biggest global warming stories of the year, a scare story that went around the world, that a crew working with famous naturalist Sir David Attenborough had filmed walruses falling off a cliff, which they blamed, of course, on global warming. Now, if you're squeamish, look away.
There's probably 200 or 300 dead walrus on like a half-mile stretch of beach here. They're exhausted because they're having to swim 100 miles now to get to food, and then coming back here because it's the only place to sleep. They used to sleep on the ice, dive down, eat the food, sleep on the ice, easy. And now they're swimming 100 miles, coming to this place, climbing cliffs, and they're just exhausted and falling down and either being killed falling or just crushing each other because there's several thousand crammed onto little tiny bits of beaches.
This is the sad reality of climate change.
Gosh, global warming did that? Well, there are already a few problems with this story, not least the fact that, as with polar bears, walrus numbers have actually increased a lot over the past 40 years. If anything, global warming seems to have helped them. But there's now another reason to doubt this claim in Attenborough's film. It turns out that walruses have been falling off cliffs for years whenever population numbers soar and beaches get too crowded. And we know that because a documentary has turned up from 25 years ago, before the global warming religion took off, describing the very same phenomenon in Alaska, where there was no shortage of ice at all. Now, apologies for the poor quality of the video.
Massive walruses plummeting to their deaths along the Alaska coast. The walruses have displayed this bizarre and deadly behavior 3 times now over the last 3 years. He feels there's probably a real simple reason walruses are climbing the bluff. It's too crowded below.
So, is David Attenborough and his crew going to admit, oh, well, gee, maybe we dropped, sort of jumped the gun. Maybe we got a bit ahead of ourselves blaming global warming for something that's, well, let's face it, it's been already happening decades ago. Apologise, correct themselves, as if. Because as we now know, being a warmist means never having to say you're sorry. So, I suggest you expect no sorries either from the AMA, our doctors' union, which today declared a global warming health emergency. Here is its national president, Tony Bartoni, on the ABC today, making one claim after another about the so-called evidence of this climate emergency.
Rising incidences of mortality from heat stress, the rising weather events, the food insecurity.
Hold on right there. That's 3 claims and 3 falsehoods or deeply misleading half-truths, or at best, at the very best, 3 highly, highly contestable claims. And the ABC did not challenge a single one of them. Let's take them. First, rising deaths from heat stress. In fact, and as any doctor really should know, a recent study by the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has confirmed cold weather kills 20 times as many people as hot weather. Cold is deadlier than heat. And that's why, of course, our death rates in winter are higher than in summer. And it's why a warming temperature could actually help us. In fact, you know what's really a health risk here? Scaremongers, like the AMA, who cheer on the kind of disastrous global warming policies that make electricity in this country so expensive that many pensioners cannot afford to heat their homes. That's a health danger. Now, the AMA's second claim, more terrible weather events. Again, come on. Professor Roger Pielke Jr., he is undoubtedly one of the world's top experts on the cost of weather events. And he points out that even the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change admits there's, well, little proof that weather is getting worse, more severe. In fact, we're getting fewer hurricanes, fewer cyclones, fewer tornadoes even. And in his latest book, Pielke says disasters have become less deadly over the past century. Another strikeout for the AMA. As for its third claim, the AMA's third claim, that global warming is causing food insecurity, can't get enough to eat. Well, that is the craziest one of all. The Food and Agricultural Organisation says world grain crops, things like wheat, rice, corn, have instead steadily got bigger, more food. And the same is true here in Australia, despite the occasional and normal drought, one like the one we've been having recently. So again, maybe, just maybe, global warming is good for us. Now, I have to ask you, there's not much ambiguity about what I've just said. I have to ask you why the AMA, which is supposedly representing doctors so concerned about science, Western medicine, science, 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 why is the AMA then saying so much that is actually scientifically untrue or half-true at best? And by the way, why is the AMA actually getting involved in global warming? Did it consult its members before putting out this rubbish? So I will say it again. Global warming means never having to say you're sorry. The bigger the exaggeration, the purer your heart.